Welcome to Milestones Radio and Milestones TV. I am Heidi Hilton, and I would like to thank my board guy today, Ryan. Yay, thank you, Ryan. And my co-host, who's usually here with me, but has been my personal assistant lately, Mr. Zan Hilton. Of course, good looking as always, I must say.
Especially in blue. Looks
Yes,
great.
you're looking very adorable today. Can I say adorable? You can. Okay, thank you. And the ever good-looking Mr. Dylan Nelson. Yay!
He's blushing.
My co-host and guest for today is the beautiful Darcy Donovan.
Oh,
Yay! How are you today, Darcy?
I did great. You look great. We were saying before, you've been to the beach.
I have.
You do. You've
Yeah.
got that sparkle, that LA. That's why people come to California. Yeah, exactly. We could vogue it.
Yeah, so a little sun works out very good, especially when you're coming from Michigan. So anyway, you have a very long list of things that you do with your time. So why don't I let you go ahead and tell our listeners?
Tell you about me?
Yes, you're
Lord.
an actress.
Yeah. You know what? It's just better for me sometimes because people go, "What are you doing? What have you done?" And then it's just like, it's kind of like asking somebody, like if you're asking a fireman, like, how many people have you rescued? And they're like, I can't remember. It's just, does that make sense?
Well, the first time I saw you was Anchorman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we'll start with that.
Oh, well, I mean, I won Miss Nashville, Tennessee. So it started
Okay.
out in beauty pageants. I actually started out in music when I was a child. And then, on a whiff, I won a beauty pageant. And then there was like 500 kids. And they were like, for a commercial that were going out, because I won the beauty pageant and you won like a certificate. You like won this big package to be around these big commercial agents.
I have to ask you something, though.
Sure.
Because I did beauty pageants, too. So who got you started?
Myself. I was self-motivated. There was nobody. I mean, listen, this is what was messed up. Like, my mom was just kind of like, hey, I'll show up, good for you. I'm like, I wanted that kind of mother that was like, they call them, a dragon mothers? Badger mother? Pageant mother. Yeah, but they also call them dragon mothers too, don't they? See? Like, isn't it like Japanese or something? Dragon people, something? I don't know.
Okay.
So,
Helicopter moms?
do what?
Helicopter
moms. So I kind of wanted that. Like, you hear, and I was like, I wanted it so bad. But she was just more or less like, it's great,
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
I
and so
guess.
then my aunt was the opposite. My aunt, her sister was just like, wanted her daughter to do everything that I was wanting to do. And then she didn't want to do nothing. She just wanted to play basketball. So it's just kind of funny, the dichotomy between,
Right.
what I wanted. But it's like, I was the one. I basically would go around, at 8 and 9 years of age and get my own money. And I would.
That's great.
I would ask.
Great.
I would ask people, please, hey, will you donate to my pageant, please? And then I'd come back the next day, please. And they're like, okay, I got to get this kid some money so she'll get away. So
We want her to stop seeing us.
yeah, exactly. And then when I came back and I said I won, they were all like, wow, that's awesome. But it's just, nothing ever really got handed to me. Sometimes people go, oh, you look. People have a misinformation about what they see or what they read, and a lot of times, I'm just very real. I mean, somebody goes, "Oh, I made it overnight." They made it overnight, and you see this long essay of how someone made it, and it was just like somebody saw them at Baskin Robbins. The next thing, they're famous. No, it's their publicist that did that. They've been at it for 10 years, It's like pounding
it is
the
a
doors.
progress, that's for sure.
So I think that's the one thing is that, I'm basically very real, sometimes a little too real. So my business manager has to say, calm it down, Darcy.
Is that true,
It's just a
Dylan?
zen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at him. He goes, I'm not going to say. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, there's times where he's like, all right.
So
Play your role.
I've been reading your book.
Oh. She's been reading the book.
Darcy's Daily Dose.
Like the way I do the Vanna White thing here? Yeah. There we go.
What an extraordinary compilation of daily tidbits.
Yay! Well, thank you. That makes a lot to me that you read it. So this
since I just saw you a couple weeks ago, I've gotten through some of it, but
cool.
not all of it yet.
Well, it's supposed to be a daily,
Yeah.
kind of like a daily message to inspire you, and then at the end they have Darcy's dailies, and you can kind of do what you need to make yourself better. Because the book was because my fans are watching, so it actually was a labor of love on this, because fans kept writing in how I started. It was just crazy. I mean, I will say these inspirations that I was posting up, it was just, there was so much bad I'm watching on television, so many bad things happening that I was posting up, and then it just kept growing. The number kept growing and growing. Yes, on Facebook it started. That's where it started. And the next thing I know is everybody's like, oh my God, I love what you're having to say, because I'm going through that too. And then the big kicker was when I've saved a lot of people from suicide. So that was the big thing. Then it was like, my team was like, wait a minute, this is pretty crazy. I mean, that's
really, really, really incredible.
Well, thank you. Because
I can't even say really enough. I'm sorry. I'm like, say something else, But that was very incredible that you have that type of an outreach to comfort people in that manner.
It hits home because my cousin was that, she was like kind of like my little sister in a way. She committed suicide on her 21st birthday.
Oh.
And it was just like nobody expected it. It's just one of those things. And so it's kind of like this was kind of a little bit of a crusade too, because you just really don't know. People just don't understand a kind word to somebody you don't know, uplifting somebody who is a stranger. You have no idea what they're going through. I mean, there's actually a YouTube video that I saw, and it was like all these people were going into a shopping facility, and there was like all this stuff that like these arrows pointing down. I don't know. Did you ever see it, Ryan? Did you ever see that, Ryan? The YouTube video. He's the engineer, by the way. I'm talking to him. So it was a YouTube video, and it was about like it kind of showed all these people going into a shopping facility, and above them it's like father just died last week.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, it's like all these different arrows pointing to all these people like are having issues. And it's just interesting, and that's kind of been my crusade when I'm talking to my fans. I mean, I have one amazing fan who was actually one of the biggest donors in the book, and his name's Ricky. And Ricky, he was dealing with he was dealing with substance abuse. He's over that now. And he goes out, and he's somebody that he likes to stay home all the time, but he went out and he spoke to children and was telling them of his story. But he said because of the book and because of the daily inspirations, he says, it's changed his outlook on life. And that to me is the biggest deal. So. Oh yeah, he also started a business because of me.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ricky. So
that's awesome.
He's very supportive, and he's amazing. And I mean, it's like I just like Paul Magoza, Vicky Niles, like Christopher Bowers. I mean, Stelliano, and these are fans that I just are so. I can't. I mean, when I'm down, they lift up my day. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah. And a kind word does go a long way. That's for sure. Even if you're at the grocery store.
Exactly. I mean, I got off the airport. We were the show that I'm doing. We got off the plane, and we're at the airport. Now, you can imagine how busy the airport is. And we're just about to board, but we were starving. So me and one of my other assistants were sitting there like, okay, we're getting, I think it was like Kentucky Fried Chicken or something at the airport. And this one girl looked like she was literally frazzled out of her mind. Like you could just tell, like the line was wrapped around, everybody was trying to get, before they get on their flight, trying to get their food. And she literally... She just had this, I mean, I thought she was very pretty. Like, she just naturally looked really pretty. And I said, you're really naturally gorgeous. Like, you've really got a beautiful face. And she was like, oh, my God, I needed that so much. You have no idea the day that I've had. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful.
But do you know what I mean? A little goes a long way.
It's always good to go into your day and realize that everybody's got their own issue that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And just a kind word it just goes a long way. And
it's true. But the one thing is, I don't care if you're Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie. I don't care who you are. I don't care how hot you are. Everybody's got an issue. There's always some man going, oh God, I'm sick of her. Or, she does, you know what I mean? Or I'm sick of him. And you're going, these are I mean, I hate to say this, but you see what's in the tabloids. And I mean, it's like everybody's like, oh, this picturesque marriage and all these, they got a great life. But the thing people don't understand, a lot of people need to be grateful for what they have. And they need it no matter what it is. They need to be grateful so they can, more can come in. It's just so many people complain about what they don't want and then they don't get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and our world is very fast-paced now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's difficult, but we really need to focus on bringing the human being back into the human.
Amen, sister.
So,
you got it.
hey, you're lucky I didn't miss. Hey, that's the first time that you put your hand up that I didn't miss.
Oh, nice!
All right.
Two in a row. We're on a roll. We're going to play the lotto. Anybody got some money? We're going to play the lotto right now. Ryan's the first one.
So, a couple of other questions. I have so many things to ask
Oh
you.
yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's go.
Okay. You
All
just
right.
want me to answer them and then that's it, or not? You know me. One question could go for 2 hours or 10 hours.
So, what does your average day look like?
Oh Lord, have mercy. I never know. It's just day. It's definitely everything has to be. I have like a military style. I have to have the house my house has to look great. My dogs need to be fed. I have to have my morning routine of, it's always eggs.
See my list of questions? Your dog.
Yeah. So, see, you're like me. See, everything's regimented. So that's the one thing that it's like I may have a conference call, then I have to have a meeting, and then I may have to jump to another meeting and not be able to eat lunch and eat a power bar in the car. And then the next day, like, I have to meet with some producers about a television show tomorrow. So it's like that all came up out of the blue. I mean, that's how way LA is. It's just so random. It's like the person that's like, I'm going to come by your house and see you. And you're like, I got to clean. I can't see my place like this. So it's like, you just never know. It's like 1 minute you're like, hey, can you come to New York and go to this event? Or you just never know.
Right.
It's so random. But that's kind of how
you have to adapt out here. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And, I'm very big and meticulous on lists and on times. I have to be that way.
Zan, my list.
That's, see, that's it. 3 times in a row.
All right, I did it again.
I love it. So that's the one thing, though, is, my dad came and stayed with me. And I had a little cubby thing on the door for him, because he gets up, I don't know. My parents get up at the crack of dawn. I don't even know, like, before even birds rise. It's ridiculous. Roosters are looking at him like, what the heck, man? I'm not even crowing yet. What are you doing up? So my dad, I had an itinerary and I had it on the door, and he's, he always messes with me and stuff, and he goes, I thought this was the itemized list of of my stay here. I'm like, yeah. But it was just like, okay, here's where we're going. He wanted to go Universal Studios. So I was like, we're going here, and then we're going to this restaurant, and then I'm going to have you go. I mean, it's just was itemized. It was, and he just laughed. But
So how many dogs do you have?
oh gosh, can I tell you animals? Because
Yeah.
they're all my
tell me.
babies. So I have 4 dogs that range from tiny to huge. I just saved a cat, so now I have a cat, and I have a bearded dragon. So
Bearded dragon.
yeah, I have a bearded dragon. I'll tell you about that. But then I don't know what it is. I really feel like animals can feel your energy. It is crazy. I have like random animals, like this one people they moved in. They're like way on down the street, but their dog. I open the door, and this gorgeous dog, just like comes in my home like, hey, I'm kind of confused. You seem nice. And I'm thinking, how did it know? How did it know to open that I was coming out? It was just crazy. And so I'm walking the dog up and down trying to find the owners. And then she's like, oh my God, we just moved to the neighborhood, and oh, you've got my dog. Oh, thank you. And she's confused, obviously. The dog is confused.
Right.
So, but that was what was so funny, because it's like she knows to come to me. And now it's like I get possums in my backyard, and now, I mean, I have a photo of it somewhere, but I have these two birds, and this is what's funny. It's a fake, in the back, those fake, what do you call it? The wreaths that look like flowers, but they're fake.
Yes.
So they made a nest in this fake wreath, and so I went over there. I was like, something's going on. These two birds, there's something going on. They're either like, doing a drug deal over here. I don't know, because they kept coming and going and going. It was just weird. I said, something's going on. My assistant was outside. We were kind of going over in the day, and she was kind of oblivious. Ann was like, it went over her head. I love you, Ann, but that went over your head. So she she was like, oh, let me go look. So we look over there, 5 eggs, little baby eggs. And it is hilarious. Like, it's like I'm Snow White and have all these animals. It's just ridiculous, because now the birds give me tude when I turn the light on to go outside. It's like, so it's all mad at me, and then I turn the light off and it shuts up. Isn't that crazy? And then they were outside. See, even birds are like, they're married, but you could tell she was like, where have you been? I've been here laying on the eggs all night long. I mean, they were going at it. And I was just laughing, because I'm very observant. People don't realize that. Even when I'm talking, I'm very observant. So I watched one day, and it's like they did she would for 5 minutes lay on the egg, then she'd leave for 10 minutes, and then he'd come back.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they were doing, like, laying on these eggs, but then he didn't come back, and I could tell she was looking around. Then she was like calling him, and I thought, oh my God, this is what's going to be my mom and my dad my stepdad when I get when. I don't know, when they get reincarnate or something, because it was just like, it's like, where were you? I mean, you ever...
I know. We've got a couple cardinals at our house. We can't quite figure out if they're different. And we've had them like for several years.
Well, they might be a couple. They might. Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
They might have laid some eggs somewhere. Aw, they've had.
Yeah, they have had babies, and we'll see them out there, and I swear they follow us around the house.
Oh, they're like, they probably know. You all are the...
Anna Wilding, where you guys met, she's watching live right now.
Oh, Anna Wilding! Anna Wilding, she is very famous artist who is amazing. I can't, that's one thing.
I really like Anna. Yeah.
Oh, I love her. She is...
Check it out.
Yeah.
Check her out.
Well, that's the one that people, I know you haven't asked this question, but I get asked this a lot. What can you not do? Draw. Don't ask me to draw anything. No, I'm the last to get picked at Pictionary, but I am a good guesser. But, I had to draw a cookie, and people are like, what the heck is that? What is that? And I'm thinking, this is, they're like, what, a tire? They did, I just couldn't draw a cookie.
I hate to tell you this, but I actually got into acting. I mean, the little acting.
Let me guess,
I've done.
you're like a savant. You can like draw.
I was drawing and drew a picture for a contest.
Oh my God.
And they asked me to be on TV with it. And I got the bug.
Well, you know what? They'll ask me to be off TV with my drawing. They're like, what is that? It was like a dyslexic little 2-year-old, because there's no way. See, that's amazing. Well, see, that's another talent you have. Wow.
It was for, I started with United Way. And
Oh, wow.
did United Way commercials, which leads me into my next question for you. Your philanthropy work.
Oh, yes. Well, between helping animals, that's my big thing. Is I love helping animals, but also domestic violence. My mom went through that when I was younger. I had to deal with that, so it's like that's a big thing for me, because there's also, people don't realize there's a psychological factor that goes with that, and so that's a big deal to me, as well as Allison Arningram, working with her, Protect, trying to raise money for helping the veterans and the children that are getting abused. It's just the stories she tells me. I just had to tell her to stop. I couldn't listen to it. It's just horrific. So, that's the one thing, that I'm the type of person that it's just, there's so much help that needs to be given. Just like I have a friend that her name's Kimmy Black, and she rescues like horses. And I did a big horse charity to try to raise funding to help the horses because you know, dogs and cats have a place to go,
Right.
But what do you do with the horse? So, you know,
Zane and I did an event, a couple years ago? Raised money for thoroughbreds that were retiring from horse racing.
Oh, wow.
It was, and we did it during Derby time.
Oh, nice. Where was that at? Was that in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Southern
so
roots.
we did that a few years ago. So, yeah. So you and I have an affinity for raising money for causes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's. I mean, even my mom said when I was a little kid, she said I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulder, and I think it's just because I'm very empathic. I've been through so much that it's like if somebody says, "Hey, you know, I'm going through this," I could say, "Oh yeah, I can understand. I can relate." You know, I used to get really upset and depressed because I was like, "Why is this happening to me?" Because I'm a good person, and it was just enough to where it's like I understand what anybody's going through. You know, whether it be, you know, suicide or rape or any kinds of, you know, accident or just illness or anything. It's just, I can relate. And so it's just one of those things where I think that's the problem with the world a little bit. You know, we've been desensitized.
Yeah.
Now it's like you see people just, you know, it's almost like, what can I do to be famous so I'm going to shock you? That's what I'm going to do. It's like there's shock value. Where do you go now? It's just, it's everything is like a lot of stimuli for the brain
Right.
and a lot of like shock value. I mean, you see people going, "Hey, I got to do this crazy thing so people will notice me." I mean, you hear YouTubers do it all the time. And to me, it's just like, you know, I don't know. That's not interesting to me. I mean, you know, think about it. If you're going on a date and a guy's trying to impress you and he's like going, or he's like, you know, tooting, I call it the booty bomb. If he's booty bombing the whole date, you're going to be like, what? That's not cool. But it's going to turn you off. And that's the thing that I see. It's like the people doing things that I'm just like, okay, you know, that's
so
a little ridiculous.
beyond being an actress and beyond philanthropy work and your recordings that you've done, you have a wonderful voice too, I must add.
Thank you.
Writing your book, what type of a legacy do you want to leave?
Well, it's interesting you say that. My grandfather would always tell me there's no luggage racks in a hearse.
Repeat that again?
There are no luggage racks in a hearse.
Right. Okay.
So you can't take it with you. And I admire my grandfather. I would say if anybody says, you know, who do you want to spend time with or who do you want to see, it's my grandfather. He had no enemies. Everybody adored him. And he was a dead ringer. Like he looked just like James Earl Jones. Like they could be twins. So that's, yeah. And he had that, you know, just funny presence. And then you have my grandmother who's German and like feisty and he's easygoing and he's like, you know, this quiet, lovely man that everybody adores. I mean, he was the one that I would say he left a legacy where it just impacted even to this day. Like he died when I was 15 and even to this day it stings. So it's like, I just want to make that kind of a legacy that it's like long after I'm gone, people say, you know, she made a difference. You know,
Right.
that, you know, my existence wasn't just some vapor in the wind. That's kind of, to me, what it's all about. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's easy to get caught up in the materialistic stuff. It's so easy. The day-to-day grind. And I had a brush with death in 2016, and my outlook on everything changed.
Yep.
I just was like, you know, I've done what I wanted to do. I want to make a difference. You know, it's just some of the stuff. I mean, listen, I like reality TV. I love the Housewives. I watch that stuff. Like, any male around me will run and scatter. They're like, do you like it, Ryan? Do you like do you watch reality shows like that? You know.
Not that one.
Oh, which one do you watch?
I was a big Jersey Shore person.
Okay, Jersey Shore. So.
Embarrassing.
No, but I mean, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure in a way. So.
We watched Married at First Sight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
That's what we
Zan,
do.
is that the only one you watch?
I'm trying to think. There's
Pretty much, Dylan.
Oh, you like Oak Island?
No, you don't watch any reality show? No. Okay.
We're reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're reality.
yeah.
There we go. Reality.
So should we talk about your speaking of reality shows?
Can we talk about it? Or can we? Can I
I
say
think
it?
you can say it.
Okay. So, this gorgeous lady here, her and I are embarking on a journey here that we've got a heartwarming, can I say, what is it like? What is it? It is a docuseries that is in development. It's Hush Hush. It's going to be spectacular. And Ryan said he's going to bring all his friends and popcorn, right? Yeah. He said, yeah, you got like 150? That's great. Thank you. He's going to bring them all to watch this show. Zan's got T-shirts, and he's like wearing them all around. And Dylan is like, he's got like, we have a mascot that's like a big chicken. And so he's wearing it, and he's like, he's pushing the show on the street. He's the one with the little sign that you'll see that says, watch the show. Anyway, so yeah, we're really excited about it. I mean, I always believe that God has a way of good people coming together. I really believe that, and it's usually
people doing great things.
Exactly, yes, and it's out of the blue. And I just the story itself is just so, when we're on like Oprah and Ellen, then we'll tell them the crazy adventure and how amazing, but. Good people doing great things.
Yeah.
We're incredible people doing incredible things.
That's right. Yes. So we'll keep everybody posted as things transpire.
Oh yes, you better stay tuned and watch this beautiful angel here.
And this beautiful angel.
And we're going for a ride. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And it'll be fun, too.
Yes. And Zan is excited because he got a special little, like, cheerleader outfit just for the debut of the show. So we're really excited. Yeah.
Did I tell you that Ryan is selling tickets already?
Oh, nice. Yeah. He's like, make it rain. Ryan's making it rain. All right.
So do you want to talk about your next movie coming out?
Oh, well, besides the docuseries, because, the docuseries is like, you got a little baby, and you're just like, I just love it. And then you've got, your other baby. Yeah, well, that's why you have 2 boobs. So anyway, you get the point. I know. And I didn't even take any caffeine. Can you believe that? Could you imagine me on caffeine? I'd be like a chihuahua on crack. It would be terrible.
I was sure to drink some tequila before I got
here.
Girly!
Oh man! Would that would be a great show. This would go viral. Bam! Like bam. Even Ryan's like, yeah. He's getting into it. Well, I'm the lead actor and the producer of this series.
Okay.
It's a television series, and it's called The Vicky Series and The Lazarus Game. That's like the second onto it, a part of it, the series. And it's an adaptation of a very popular book series. And it's like Hunger Games. Hunger Games meets. Have you seen the show Revenge at all?
I haven't seen that one. No.
My mom she just loves that show. But the show is really good. So if you want to kind of know how the characters and everything, it's Hunger Games meets the Revenge. And so me and the writer have been working on this amazing. The script is actually in development right now, and the book is just. It's a good book when you're reading it, and you can't, especially as a woman, I think that happens when you're like, okay, it's like, I can't go to bed, it's 12 o'clock, or 11 o'clock at night, and the next thing you know, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And you're reading that book, and you're just like, I gotta put this down. Yeah, that's kind of how the book is. And I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. I don't do that. People know I'm very real because, they're like, oh, what do you think about that movie? And not to disrespect, because you always, on movies and stuff, you have people that are on there. And I'm like, it was great. It was great. Even though I'm here going, I'm like, no, it was great. and then you're like, okay, it edited very well, but that's out of my, you can't help that stuff. So I don't know. It's just, I've had friends, and I love you guys out there who are my writer friends, but some of y'all's scripts suck. You know that? I tell them.
Take everything, though.
Yeah, people go, God, you're so blunt, but I like it. but I don't want to hear it if it's about me, but I like it. And I'm thinking, I could take it. I have 3 brothers. My dad's a coach. It's like, you're okay. You've been in finance, so you're around all men. I'm around all men, so it's like guys just say crude stuff, and then it just goes off their back. I'm around men all the time, so it's like it's really done me great to have a feisty German critical grandmother and to be around all men, because then it's just like somebody will say something, you're like, whatever. It's like you're just like one of those bugs that get off me. So that's kind of how I feel about when people say something. And I just had a brain fart. We were talking about, and then I went on a tangent. You asked me.
Was it Vicky Peterwald? Is that the book? Vicky series.
It's the Vicky series. So, going back to that, the Vicky series it's one of the, when you read it, it's just such a great book.
Okay.
And it's I read a lot of books. I love books. I love all kinds of stuff. But the one thing is that I read it and I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of character that I definitely want to do. And it's, there's going to be a lot of training martial arts. I'm going to be like Kung Fu master, and I'm really excited about it. Some people are like seeing me in different roles. Like they're like, oh, when you were an anchorman or in a Parks and Rec, you didn't have an accent. I'm like, I get paid. That's my job. Like, I'm originally a glam gal, but when I'm on set, it's completely different. I just played a detective alongside D.B. Sweeney.
Okay.
I mean, when I walked on set, they're like, where is Darcy? They didn't even know, because it's no makeup. You're like, got your hair pulled back. I mean, you're wearing a detective costume. I mean, so it's like.
It sounds like it'd be really cool.
Sure. Now that's different. That's the one that I just wrapped up, and that's like a psychological thriller, like Silence of the Lambs. So that's the one that I just did, and we shot it. Now this one's in development.
Okay.
So I'm really excited the way this is going. So I really see it being a very long series, kind of like. You should watch. You guys should do that. Netflix and chill, and watch Revenge. You'll get addicted to it. It's really good.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad they ended it when they ended. Because when some shows they just keep going and going and going, and you're like, okay, end the show because now it's just getting stupid.
We did a summer of Pretty Little Liars.
I love that show.
I mean,
but it did but it got a little weird in the end.
It did. Yeah, it did. So, was there a movie that you finished too?
It was Mr. Thursday.
Okay.
And so we had a lot of it was definitely a different experience. I mean, we were in Iowa. And the mayor came down. I mean, it was just a big deal. They did a big, huge, media thing on us over in Iowa, and everybody was so sweet. But the mayor's kind of working to get more people from the entertainment industry into their state and everything. And we had a great old time there. It was a lot of fun.
Maybe we should go there.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, we should find something to go do in Iowa.
Oh, I got to tell you, yeah. And Dylan, do you remember who was the sweetheart, the chef? Do you remember the restaurant? No. Okay. Well, we'll have to go. It was so nice, but our shooting schedule was so crazy, and then we had to fly, out of town.
Do you think we can find something to do in Iowa?
Well, yeah. This wonderful chef, he wanted it.
Every year he feeds the homeless.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And his restaurant, I didn't get to go. Like, he was gonna cater our whole staff, like the whole cast and everything, and it was for the wrap party. But everything was just nuts. I mean, it was crazy. So that's one thing when you're shooting, you never know when you're gonna wrap.
Right.
So,
right. We're on our way.
Yeah,
we're on our way.
Yeah.
So anyway, Darcy, we've got a lot of stuff that we're working on together.
I know. I'm so excited. Oh, and we're doing a calendar, just so you know, for 2019 or 2020. Yeah, Zan's like, yeah. He got a big sip. It was so cute. See, now that's how you know. How long y'all been together?
34 years.
Are you kidding? You don't even look look old enough to be together for 34 years. That is crazy.
This July we'll be married 31. We dated for 3 years before we got married.
Now, so what's the secret? Here, I'm going to ask you guys, what is the secret to keeping that, boom, chicka, big, bow, 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 right?
The boom, chicka, bow, bow.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Keeping that spark alive.
Well, it's just you. You just look sexy every day.
Oh my gosh, that look at him. He's like, oh god, look at him, he's getting red. It's so cute. I wish you could see it. See, now that's awesome. Teamwork. See, and I like that. That's what I always love to anybody that's like been together for like 20 years or more. I always like to hear what their story is and then what they did to stay together.
Somebody asked me many, many years ago. I think at the time we had been married like 8 or 9 years, and they said, "So how do you do it?" She said, "I just got married like 2 years ago, and how do you do it?" And I said, "Well, I let reality set in, and one day I just said to myself, these little things like toothpaste tubes and whether or not the dishes are done and all of that, imagine if he wasn't in my life at all."
Yeah.
And I lost him.
Yeah.
And I saw her. I saw that person like I think 6 months ago. And she looked at me, she says, "I just want you to know your advice works every day."
Oh, wow. That's
so
amazing.
And I know it can sound really morbid to go, well, how would my life be without this person?
No. I mean, listen, I just got a cat, and I have always had dogs. I love this cat dearly with all my heart. But then when you wake up in the morning to like the stench of like, 100 elephants taking a,
Yeah.
a poopy break, it's just, it's like I want to choke this cat. I'm like, and then, my favorite earrings are gone because she's using them as a chew toy. Oh. And then she's playing with my makeup and swatting it, we're like $50 makeup stuff and swatting it on the floor. So, but then I was like, all the joy that she did bring me. And I know that's like, you can't, but yeah, you can. Because my mom and I talk about, you can say relationships kind of are like that. It's like, my dad and my mom been together for a very long time. My stepdad, I mean, they've been together for it seemed a very long time. They just had their anniversary, which I don't even know how long it is, but I think it was in the 30s possibly. And Esther wasn't what started. She goes, "Well, it started with great sex."
No,
yeah.
I don't talk about those things. So,
but see, I do. No, okay. No, but it was just.
There's the bow chicka bow bow. So he's got it going on.
The bow chicka bow. So but I do think after a time period, it's more like you're a team. You're you have each other's backs. I mean, Chris Rock is one of my favorite comedians, and he said it perfectly. He says the person that loves you is when you're throwing up and they're holding your hair up. He goes, that's the person you want to be with, because you're not there's nobody that's 100% on, and there's nobody that's perfect. There's just nobody. I don't care who you are. I don't care. It's
very true.
And so when you're finding a partner, it's got to be somebody that you have similar interests, but you're also different.
Right. So I
good.
have on my little questionnaire sheet that what would be your tidbit for today? Would that be it?
Oh, tidbit today. Actually, the tidbit today is not to take life so serious. Don't do that. Some people just get so anxious over nothing, and they let it, spiral out of control.
Right,
So the one thing is by just sitting here and sometimes just laughing at something. Sometimes you have to just stop when you're ticked off about the traffic or ticked off, your mother is like telling you what to do for the 20 millionth time. And, you sometimes you just have to take a break. And like you said earlier, like appreciate the love that you guys have for each other. It's like you should appreciate all the pros and cons of anything, right? Nobody's perfect. I mean, we're not perfect.
No, nobody's perfect. We're trying though.
Yeah,
we really
women
are.
do that though.
Yeah,
we try. I don't think guys don't understand. Like, there was a comedian that said, "Okay, we have all men in here. So do you guys have that one side of your brain that's like, okay, you're thinking about things, but then it goes over and then there's nothing. There's just like this nothing." Is this okay? I see two. Zan, is it just like you just kind of zone out. So pretty much it was unanimous. So it's like, all the men in here are like, yeah. So it's like women don't ever do that. It's like bing, 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 bing.
See, that's a good explanation.
Yeah,
It
and
is,
men
yeah.
just kind of like it just sits on one side. They could just sit there in the toilet for like 2 hours playing their playing their video game or reading the newspaper. And women are like, oh my god, I got the groceries. Oh, did he get this? Did he get that? Oh gosh, is this happening? Oh honey, what are you wearing? It's just
Right,
right. So.
Right.
Just don't take life too serious. It's because what are you going to do? Next day you could get hit by a car, and then all that anxiety was for nothing.
Exactly.
So
yeah. So we're going to tell our listeners to check out our future endeavors.
Oh yes, please do that. Tell your friends. This is and who knows? We can get one of your listeners on the show.
Yeah,
But
that'd be great. We should
You
have
heard
a
that.
contest. Though.
Yeah,
That's
we will.
what we should do.
Yeah,
Yes.
and hey, you come up, we'll spoil you. So you got to sit here and watch these episodes because Heidi and I got some tricks up our sleeve, and it's gonna be. It's gonna be
We do.
game changer. It's a game changer.
It is,
okay,
it is.
game changer.
It is. So we're going to wrap up now. That didn't come out very good. It was like blah, blah, blah.
Okay, we gotta shine a nine. Oh, here, yeah. La la la, la la la.
Everybody, check out milestonesradio.com.
Check it out. If you don't, I'll find you. I know where you live.
Darcy Donovan. Have a good day. Thank you.
Woo!